welcome to my kitchen video. We are in the kitchen today because I'm gonna be trying my first go at making sourdough. I have been working on my starter for a week now, and it has these bubbles and it smells like rancid asshole. So to me, that means it's ready. I'm gonna be using this recipe by Cultured Guru to make this Dutch oven sourdough. Let's start it. Okay, so to start it, it says we need 500 grams of bread flour. Here's the thing, I don't have a scale, so I'm gonna have to do this in like what, metric. So yeah, conversions. Bread flour, water comes out of the sink, so I have that. Salt. I would like to mention that this recipe takes 7 hours and it is indeed 11:30. So I'm gonna be doing sourdough all day. 4 cups of bread flour. A little trick I've learned in the biz of baking is to scoop the flour into your cup instead of scooping it into the cup. I said the same thing. Scoop it with a spoon. 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups. The last cup I'm doing a little bit small because I dropped some flour in the bowl in the process. So there's our flour. So 10 to 15 grams of salt is like 2.5 tablespoons, or sorry, teaspoons. So 1 teaspoon in the bowl. There's our half. Salt in the bowl. So then we need 1 1/4 cup water. Okay, I wanted to say this really quick. I'm using distilled water because it won't kill my starter, okay? That's why I'm using a Brita and not the faucet. Okay. Exactly. Water in the bowl. Water in our bowl. Now it's time for the starter. I need 100 grams of sourdough starter. Okay, so there's 100 milliliters. A little bit more, but that's in case I get stuck to the side of this. And that's gonna go in here. You can see me combine it. Hey, it's coming together like a dough, which makes sense because it's flour and water. Together until a uniform ball forms. Sounds good. I'd call that a ball, a uniform ball, if you will. Okay, the next thing it says to do is use a spray bottle with water, mist your countertop, wet your hands with a wet, like I need to do something here with a spray bottle. I don't have a spray bottle, I don't think. Wet your hands and wet the top of the dough ball with this spray bottle. Turn the dough out. I'm just gonna wet the countertop a little bit. Wet the top of the dough ball. Turn the dough out on the wet kind. So the technique for sourdough is called stretching and pulling, which is what I was trying to do, but the dough literally was falling apart in my hands. So to make this quote unquote uniform ball took about all my strength and patience, if I'm being honest, but we made it. Place the dough back in the bowl with the seam side down. Okay, so we're supposed to just let this sit for 30 minutes.
A few moments later.
So I'm gonna wet the countertop and do the same stretching and pulling method that I was doing. We're gonna stretch and pull. Stretch, pull, stretch. I think that's our next stretch and pull done. I did end up covering it. I didn't know if I was supposed to, but I'm just covering it from now on. So we'll set another 30-minute timer, come back and do it.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
It's time for our third stretch and pull. So there's our third stretch and pull. I'll see you when I see you.
Much later.
Okay, so awkward moment. I read the instructions more and I have to let it rest for 2 hours in between the stretch and pulls, and I've been doing 30. So I'm gonna wait another hour and do another, and if that's my downfall in this, it's fine. So we're gonna do it once more. Bring it back in for another 2 hours and then doing our last stretch and pull. I've been joined by a studio audience. Do you want me to present how I'm doing it to you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It's a more immersive. Okay. So, flour goes on the countertop.
Right.
Then flour on hand. Take the dough out the bowl. Oh, gosh, jeez. What is it? Then this is the stretch and pulling I've been talking about. So I'm shaping it right now.
Big old pyramid sourdough. That'd be cool.
Ooh, Minecraft block sourdough. So the instructions say to put a tea towel over it on the countertop and let it rest for like an hour.
Oh.
What do you think I'm keeping under here? If you walked in the house and you said, "Ooh, what's on the counter?" What would you think it was? Half of a head? A brain?
Maybe a foot.
A foot! Back an hour later, you can tell by the sun that this has been an all-day project. Last step of the day is to take our proofed dough, which is right here. It says to take a bowl with a towel and then cover the towel in flour. So that's a lot of flour in here, and then it just says to put seam side up in the bowl. And I think that's it. All right, we're just gonna cover it like that and let it proof for 12 hours, which means it's gonna proof until 6 a.m. So it might be proofing for a longer time. Welcome. It is now day 2 of making sourdough. So I have the oven preheating to 450 with my Dutch oven in it. You want to see? You can see. It's in there. It says to, when it preheats, take it out, which maybe I should put like a towel down because it's going to be hot. I don't feel like you should have hot shit on your counter. Take the lid off, leave the lid over there, and then use a piece of parchment paper and like put it in there. And you can also like score your bread and stuff. I'm just gonna do one big down the middle because you should see this loaf. It's a little bit rock-ish. Like it's not hard as a rock, but it doesn't look like bread dough to me. Hopefully it'll preheat here soon and we'll get this baby out. Oh my gosh. Okay, perfect. So let's do this. Okay, so our loaf is still in the bowl. So here's my dough. It looks like a rock. So it says to put your parchment down, duh, and then get the dough seam side down. Like that is flat. That's like a tortilla or like a pita bread. I'm just gonna take my bread knife and just do a score down the middle. I don't know if this is actually gonna do anything. I have no idea what this looks like. Maybe I'll do like some little score marks through here. So this baby is gonna go in the oven for 30 minutes, covered with a lid. And then for the next 30 minutes, you take the lid off. So we're gonna throw it in. My first 30 minutes has gone, and I'm terrified to take the lid off because I feel like it's gonna be a failure. So okay, I'm gonna put it back in. 30 more minutes roughly uncovered, then it might be sourdough time. Okay, the kitchen is really loud right now because I'm cooking dinner, but my bread started to get black on the top, so I took it out. See, it was a little black, but that's okay. We're gonna let it rest for an hour. That's my update. This is it. Right down the middle?
Yeah.
Okay. 2, 1. Hey, that's not that bad.
That looks great.
I did it. Kinda.
Yeah.